Alec and Hilaria Baldwin, that's her real name, Hilarious Baldwin, and their 7 children are getting a reality TV series. Oh, I hope that they have a wonderful shoot. According to the New York Times, speaking with Alec Baldwin on his podcast last year, the talk show host Kelly Ripa made a pitch for him and his wife. When I think about you and Hilaria, and your 7 young kids, now I know what you're going to say, but just go with me. This has reality TV written all over it. He didn't dismiss the idea. In fact, he said the couple had already received pitches. On Tuesday, Baldwin, who is currently scheduled to stand trial next month on a charge of involuntary manslaughter for, shooting the cinematographer, announced a reality show featuring the couple and their 7 growing kids. The working title, The Baldwins. Alex said in a video announcement with Hilarious, quote, "We're inviting you into our home to experience the ups and downs, the good, the bad, the wild, and the crazy." I only hope that it includes tapes, like that time that he yelled at Kim Basinger on tape about their kids. The announcement of the new show comes at a delicate time for Baldwin as he prepares to go on trial in New Mexico in the Rust shooting. In the podcast with Ripa, Baldwin said more children were added to his family, the more difficult it got for him to take acting jobs away from home. Apparently, TLC is the network that greenlit the show. So this seems awesome. I can just imagine how the family of the cinematographer who was shot feels about watching the Baldwins on reality TV. Oh, goody gumdrops. Our celebrity culture, only the best. There's recently been some monumental news nobody's talking about. For the first time in U.S. history, the interest we pay on our national debt surpassed every individual budget item except for Social Security. This means the United States now spends more on interest than on national defense or even Medicare. It's disgraceful. It's only going to get worse over time, which is why savvy investors, central banks, and concerned savers are turning to gold, because it's not tied to the inflated U.S. dollar. You can do the same with the help of Birch Gold. For over 20 years, Birch Gold Group has helped thousands of Americans protect their savings by converting an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. To learn more, text BEN to 989898. Claim your free, no-obligation info kit on gold. Birch Gold has earned my trust with their education-first approach, as well as the trust of thousands of other happy customers. Protect your savings today. Text BEN to 989898. Diversification is just a smart business strategy in a time where the economy is really on the rocks, where it looks like inflation is basically baked into the cake. Diversifying by investing in a thing that has not been worth zero ever would be a smart move. Head on over to Birch Gold right now. Text BEN to 989898 to get started. Well, folks, it's always a tragedy when an intellectual luminary like Ibram X. Kendi falls on hard time. The 2020 George Floyd period, it made a lot of people very famous for being utter dullards, but we were all supposed to pretend that the emperor had clothes. From Robin DiAngelo of white fragility fame to Ibram X. Kendi, the guy who wrote How to Be an Anti-Racist for Little Kids, in which he informed kids that the most important thing that they could do is be super racist, but against white people. Well, now there's an article in the Washington Post all about the troubles that Ibram X. Kendi faces, and man, is it sad. What an absolute sheer tragedy. Ibram X. Kendi has a notebook that prompts him on every other page to write down things to be grateful for. There are many things he might put under that heading. First and foremost, his wife and 2 daughters, his health, tenure at Boston University, a National Book Award, a MacArthur Genius Grant. Then there were the millions of people who bought How to Be an Anti-Racist. These days, he could use the reminder. 4 years have gone by since George Floyd was murdered on the pavement near Cup Foods in Minneapolis, sparking the racial reckoning that made Kendi a household name. Many people, Kendi among them, believe that reckoning is long over. State legislators have pushed through harsh anti-protest measures. Conservative-led campaigns against teaching Black history and against diversity, equity, and inclusion programs are underway. Donald Trump is once again the Republican nominee for president. Oh, the tragedy. Oh, the weeping and the gnashing of teeth. Kendi has become a prime target of this backlash. Books of his have been banned from schools in some districts. His name is a kind of profanity among conservatives who believe racism is mostly a problem of the past. Well, it's also kind of a slur, like a kind of profanity among those of us who have 2 working neurons that are linked together by brain activity. Because Ibram X. Kendi is a fool. He says stupid things on the regular. The only difference between Ibram X. Kendi and Ta-Nehisi Coates is a bunch of colorful purple adjectives from Ta-Nehisi Coates. Even many allies in the fight for racial justice dismiss his brand of anti-racism as unworkable, wrong-headed, or counterproductive. Criticism of Kendi only grew in September when he made the painful decision to lay off more than half the staff of the research center he runs at Boston University, which, by the way, never produced any research. The Center for Anti-Racist Research, which Kendi founded in 2020, raised an enormous sum of $55 million. False rumors began circulating Kendi had stolen funds. The university announced it would investigate. Well, apparently he didn't steal the funds. He just didn't do anything with them. The furor over the center, he said, was a measure of how desperate many people were to damage his reputation. Wow. The absolute sheer tragedy. Apparently, the center's problem was more banal than stealing the money. Most of the money was in its endowment or restricted to specific uses. After the high of 2020, donations crashed. Well, yeah, that's because people realized that you were running a grift. Apparently, Boston University also felt free to dump all over him. So, according to Boston University, they say that they had cleared him in the Center of Grant Mismanagement, but he is still waiting for Korn Ferry, the management consulting firm hired by the administration, to finish its culture inquiry. He continued to attribute any dysfunction at the center to the hardships of the pandemic and employees who repeatedly contested his leadership. Well, sad to see a complete grifter collapsing on himself like a dying star, but, it happens. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.